with the mission to keep as many men on as many guns for as long as possible. We called him Doc. Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. And now to your host, Aaron Chief Siebert.
How's it going? Hey, welcome to Combat Vet Vision. This is a platform that really educates our public. It opens it up to our combat vets to maybe find some hope or some other avenue of support. This is where I give my opinion, my life story. You know, as a combat vet, doing whatever I was doing and coming back and dealing with life, and how that life has really transformed into support in a lot of different ways. And I am super fortunate to have Paul Loska on deck. Paul Loska, a good friend of mine. He and I have a lot of history with helping the Warrior Built Foundation, the PTSD Foundation, Southern California chapter, get off to a good start. I met him way back when he was looking for a platform for the PTSD Foundation and to do some groups, to do some things. I said, hey, come check us out here. He checked it out, went through a lot of processes, and got the support to help build this facility up. 50% Warrior Built, 50% PTSD Foundation, really making it happen with a lot of funds in that realm, support, volunteers, and amazing things. So, you know, Paul's been a really awesome, silent guy off in the sides, but he's helped support a lot of our missions, a lot of our things, and continues to do that with a golf tournament ran every year for the Warrior Built Foundation, to other types of supports that I've requested from him on occasion, and huge sponsor supporter and Marine. His son's a Marine, a whole bunch of stuff. So Paul, hey, welcome to the show. It's good to have you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah,
a very nice introduction there. I don't normally get those that nice. Normally a little more raunchy than that. It was very nice for you to say those things, but yeah, it's good to be here. I love seeing your face. You know, you said I'm your mentor, but you're one of mine too. So yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you.
Oh yeah. You've been a mentor of mine ever since I met you. You know, I remember sitting down in a apartment complex, like you know, area, and we were just having a meeting, and you were bringing up a meeting and trying to get some guys to be supportive of these PTSD groups that Gene Birdwell started. Gene Birdwell he started Camp Hope in Texas, and you met Gene way back when, and that was a huge thing. So Robert Cadell, who I've had on the show, he actually introduced me to you, to this whole process. And, you know, talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about your Marine career, and what it was when you transitioned out to get some help and make your way.
Yeah. So I was a Marine, grew up in a very military centric family, like most of us. My dad was in the Army. My uncle was a Marine. My brother's a Marine. My son's a Marine. I was a Marine. Oh, just we all had the disease, I think. 87 to 92. I was in artillery surveying, so I actually learned something that transferred to the civilian world in the Marine Corps, believe it or not. Own a land surveying company, you know, logistics company now. But yeah, I think, be honest with you, I think we had it a little easier than some of these guys had it in Ramadi and Fallujah and in the early part of this century. Certainly didn't have to go through some of the things that I'm seeing. And I just noticed the way that, you know, men and women are just sort of nonchalantly, young men and women are nonchalantly thrown into battle, and they're doing an excellent job, but there just didn't seem to be a deceleration program, you know. And I just got really fortunate. In 2012, I was invited to a fundraiser, barbecue. Who can turn down a Texas barbecue fundraiser, right? So flew to Houston, Texas, and was fortunate enough to meet Gene Birdwell and Doug Brown, and just a bunch of folks that really care about the cause and have a big heart. You know, I mean, Gene Birdwell, you can't say enough about that man, right? Just, you know, put his own time and money and energy into this, and dedicated much of his life to the PTSD Foundation. And so I'm at the barbecue, and they said, "Boy, Paul, you're from San Diego. There are more veterans there than any place in the world. Why don't you see if you can let us talk you into starting a PTSD Foundation chapter in Southern California?" They didn't have one. So I took a big gulp and said, sure, you bet. And I mean, how could I turn that down? And Gene and Doug just kind of started me off in the right direction. And my good buddy Carl Skya introduced us to Phil Scheckler, who introduced us, and we met you. And we were looking for a place to get plugged in. And, you know, the chips just fell right into place. And we certainly, you know, couldn't have done it without you and Nick Ham. And, you know, so it's just a great place to be. And we enjoy it. Sometimes I think, you know, I've said this too, I think I have the easy part, you know, with some of the support and the ideas, but you guys are doing an incredible job daily, and it's great to be a part of. You mentioned the golf tournament. I think we had our second annual this year, a very successful tournament, 2 years in a row. We had to miss the COVID year, but we had our second in May. So it was the first golf tournament that we had seen in a year that went off, and just did our fishing tournament on Friday. I'm not sure what, you know, the final numbers for that, but, you know, that's a fundraiser as well. And really easy to get people on board for this cause. And, you know, just something you have to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, you touched on a lot of things there, you know, your history as a Marine, and the fact that you were able to transition, you know, into, you got your company, GSI, Icon, those companies, and you're able to help and support and do a lot of things. You've plugged me into a lot of guys. You know, Lenny just had that the fishing trip you guys went out to. It was a great fishing trip, but not so great. You didn't catch too many fish, maybe one per person. It was a slow day. You weren't feeling too good yourself. You know, I went down there. I went down there just to get on the boat, and I said, hey man, I just talked a little bit, and then I just said, hey, I got to get off, because I know I've gone 4 or 5 of these trips, and most of them I'm chumming. I'm blowing chunks.
You made the right choice, buddy. That was a rough one. The boat was a rocking, and
that's a big boat. So
yeah, it was a rough one. I've never really had a hard time on a boat before, but that was a rough one on Friday.
Yeah, and so we sent some of our combat vets, and these are guys that have gone through warrior groups through the PTSD Foundation. They've raced Baja through Warrior Built Foundation. They've done some other things, you know, and a lot of these guys, some of these guys have actually come out of depression a little bit, to the point where they're playing on our softball team. They're getting involved with their lives a little bit more, to job opportunities, and some of them are working in some really awesome industries now. You know, and these transitions seem to be really hard for our combat vets. But, you know, it's guys like you that have really stepped up to make that a little bit easier. And then not only that, but you're there embedded with them. I mean, this is what's cool about your organization. You have a lot of guys that want to be involved in some aspect. And I'll tell you, you know, Lenny's been huge on wanting to talk to these guys. You know, you've been huge wanting to talk to these guys. Hey, what's going on with your lives? You know, and you've been very intimate in everything that I've done. You know, a lot of things. I give you a report on it from time to time. You've came down to the shop multiple times. You've been involved in these guys, and that's really what's really super awesome. You know, you got guys that are successful in life, like Paul, and he's trying to do things, but then he looks back and he says, hey, I want to give back a little bit, and you know, you've done that, and you got the golf tournament that you're putting on all the time now, and that really pulls a lot of people together. And it's really awesome to see that interaction. And what does that interaction mean to you? You know, talk a little bit about that, Paul. What's that mean?
Yeah, well, first off, it's a ton of fun. So, you know, anytime you're having fun, you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna do a good job and want to repeat it. And we have a blast with these things. And you're right. We've got some really good folks that have stepped up and just put on incredible golf tournaments and really just risen right to the front and done a great job buying in and getting involved. It's not hard to get, you know, folks on board with this. And, you know, really, I just really felt like I need to do something. You know, I really do. I mean, I think grew up, my mom always said, you think you got problems, you start helping other people. And she was right. You know, she's always been an example to me in that regard. So, you know, it's always feels like it's never enough. You know, you want to do more. And, you know, the hard part is, you know, getting some of these veterans to be willing, you know, I mean, that's some of the early work there is breaking through that, you know, that wall that's up, that they don't want to listen and don't want to talk. And so, so many things that can be done. There's so many places for folks to fill in. There's so many things that are needed. And, I just, I enjoy the successes. I definitely love to see folks transition through the program and go to Camp Hope in Houston and become, working and, productive members and enjoy some happiness again. That means a lot to me. Boy, there's a lot of stories we could talk about, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of times. I mean, even the the Alzheimer's organization that you're part of too, and you help raise funds for that. You put on a good thing for that, and it, talk a little bit about that. And that's because there are so many organizations doing incredible things for our society, for our veterans. Yeah. And it's not just the veterans. You're part of so many other things. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Alzheimer's Foundation. Yeah, that's a big one too. I mean, I think everyone has certain things that tug on their heartstrings, and things that are maybe defenseless and need some help. Just that's my weakness, man. I got to jump right in there. And a few years ago, my mother-in-law had dementia and Alzheimer's, and she was in a facility, full-time facility, and I just witnessed like love and care from complete strangers for not only my mother-in-law but all of the folks that were in this facility, and it just blew me away to see people caring for strangers like that. It's definitely like a gift from God to have that, that service and that ability, and it spurred me, motivated me to action. I thought, if you guys are doing that, then I can do something. And again, the timing was right. The Alzheimer's Foundation started, Mr. Scott Drury actually did that, started a rides for Alzheimer's. We did our fourth one this year, and about 100-mile ride around the county where we raised money for the Alzheimer's Foundation of San Diego. Oh gosh, I think this year we had 280 riders or something like that, and 280,000, and it's growing every year, and it's a good cause as well. And I think there's a link between PTSD and Alzheimer's, probably. So it just makes sense.
Right. Yeah. And I would probably, I'd agree with that, because I feel like my mind runs at such a high pace. I worry about that in my own thoughts. As I start to get older and you start forgetting things, you're like, whoa, do I got to question whether or not I need to get this checked or not? And it's like, right. So no, I feel that. I talk about your transition a little bit. When you left the Marine Corps, and obviously you got that knowledge because you were a surveyor for artillery back there, and then talk about the struggles you might have had during your transition, and then you finally found a direction that really worked for you. And talk about your companies a little bit, and that's an inspiration to probably a lot of guys. It'll maybe give them some sort of scope on that as well.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm a licensed land surveyor. I guess that's kind of what I always identified with, and it's something that I actually learned to do in the Marine Corps. We had, artillery surveyors, and the same concept, where you're using GPS and measurements to place things on the earth, elevation and contours and maps and whatnot. And it was something I enjoyed. And when I transitioned out of the Marine Corps, I think where I struggled early on was in college. It's difficult to come out of a combat zone and then just immediately be in a real quiet room where you're expected to act and look a certain way, and you can't yell at anyone, and you want to be yelled at a little bit too. It makes you feel good.
And you can't use the knife hand.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I went to school and learned to survey. In 2001, I started my own company, and was small for a decade, just me and another person, and just really started to grow right around 2008, 9, 10. In 2012, I started Icon, which is a logistics company and a safety company, completely unrelated to the surveying. I like to say sometimes I bit off a little more than I could chew. But both companies are doing well. Again, just great people. I think what we do well is we hire good people. We put a lot of effort into our employees, into the people we hire. You know, you're going to go through 3 or 4 interviews before you come to work for us. We definitely strive to hire veterans. So, you know, they come to the workforce with things that, you know, perhaps cannot be taught that they've already learned. And then they buy into our charities, our tournaments, and our fishing tournaments, and you know, they make up probably 10-20% of our workforce. So it's all happened slowly and through the years, and you know, it's definitely had our ups and downs. I think the things I learned in the Marine Corps definitely taught me some persistence, you know, and the ability to solve problems in less than ideal situations helps out a little bit in the business world. And we just stay the course, and you know, we keep doing the right thing and try not to lose focus of family first and charities and things that mean something. I think today people want to work in an organization where they feel like there's something bigger than themselves and that they're part of a common cause. And you know, I think that's important. That's part of our company cultures. And you know, it's definitely been some struggles along the way, but you know, anything that's worthwhile usually hard to get. So we're enjoying it.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's great to hear your story. You know, what college did you go to and some of that stuff, and your son
went to a little community college here in San Diego called Palomar, and then San Diego State,
nice.
Which is more of a party school than a learning school, but you can actually get some learning done there if you're buckle down.
Yeah, and you convinced your son to join the Marine Corps, or he did it on its own. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh, I didn't have to convince him. You know, he was most consistent kid I ever met. All he ever cared about was being a Marine. I remember he'd come home from school when he was in first grade, and I guess the Marine recruiter visited the school and his blues and everything. And he came home and he had his business card. He said, "Dad, I did more pull-ups than anybody. Look, I got his card." And he just, always wanted to be in the Marine Corps. And he did 6 years and is out now. But yep, that was an easy one.
Wow, that's crazy, because I remember when he joined, he talked to me about it, and 6 years have passed already. That's nuts. That's just crazy.
Yeah, he ended up getting a Marine Security Guard, MSG duty. So his last 3 years, well, he said Paris, France, then a year in Mumbai, India, and then he did his last year in Nassau, Bahamas. And I'm like, son, that's not the Marine Corps I was in. You're in the Girl Scouts. I used to joke with him a lot like that, but he had good duty, and he enjoyed it as well.
Nice. And his transition has been pretty good?
Yep. It has. He lives in the East Coast and, still works in that capacity, but yep, he's doing well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show and actually just, providing some insight, some pushes into whatever directions, you've gone, the fact that we've done a lot of things together, Gene Birdwell, a whole bunch of cool stuff with that, with the Camp Hope and the PTSD Foundation, SoCal, the
Nick
Gene
Ham.
Birdwell Foundation. Yeah. Nick Ham, first sergeant, retired, combat wounded, and he is the president of Warrior Built Foundation.
Yeah.
One of these days I'll get him on the show. He's waiting until he's waiting until I have like 250 listeners.
I'm just trying to be like Nick Ham every day. I'm just copying him. That guy's an inspiration too. So. Yeah.
Nice. You got a lot of inspiration to a lot of things. You've inspired me, and keep doing what you do. And thanks for the inspiration. Thanks for being my mentor. Thanks for helping in so many different ways, and opening my eyes to a lot of different prospects in life too. And knowing that there's these opportunities for our combat vets is inspiring. I definitely try not to ask for too much. But when I need it, I'll give you a call, or I'll give somebody else a call that I know that I might just need something. You might offer 12 of them, but man, I only need one. So I don't want to waste the help. But thank you for all that help and support. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, if you want to give out any information on, getting a job with you, being part of something with you, or if you want to just put out your information that's valid, feel free to give that at this point. And anything else you might want to say please.
Yeah, our websites have some links to Camp Hope and Warrior Built and the PTSD Foundation, some other things. GISsurveyors.com or Icon Utility Services. Either of those, you can find me. There's an About Us and a link on there. But I just wanted to say to you too, Aaron, likewise, always a pleasure talking with you, brother. You know, I'll do anything I can to help you. I really will. And, you know, God bless you and Semper Fi.
Thanks a lot, Paul. You know, this is Combat Vet Vision. This is where I get to give my opinion. I get to listen to other opinions, other life stories, and things that really, really matter. You know, genuine conversations, genuine people that I've come across that have helped and that are helping. I just, you know, I got to go through a whole bunch of them. There's still a whole bunch in my life. There's a whole bunch in my phone. There's all this, and that. But it's guys like Paul that make a difference in this. And it's, you know, I want to thank Sitch Radio. I want to put that out there, sitchradio.com, for producing my show, for doing all this cool stuff and actually making this a possibility, forcing me into a uncomfortable situation that is no longer uncomfortable and opening up my eyes and abilities to kind of get the message out there in a little bit different way. You know, all week long, I really work with these combat vets on different issues, different things. I work with these companies. I work with these people. I really try to reach out and make a difference where I can with what I can. I also have a huge team of people that I work with, you know, with Warrior Built Foundation, the PTSD Foundation of America, so many other organizations that are out there doing incredible things. I can go down the list, and there's a lot of lists. But check out the show notes below. There's a lot of show notes down there that you can get a hold of me. You can get a hold of Paul. You can see what his story is a little bit, and we'll go from there. But until next time, hey, this is Aaron Siebert signing off. Strength and honor. Out.